Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Hero, and this is Middara on Tabletop Simulator. Cleaned up the board a bit. We're just going to go ahead and clear it off now. There was no refresh, so the 1 damage that Elifie has still carries over, as well as the 4 damage from Justice. The dodge tokens stay, because they are circular. Everything else should be going, though. So no haste there, no barrier, none of that. We'll just clear it one more time. There we go. Alright, that is everything from that. And it says to go to Ambush Failed, page 237. That wasn't so bad, Remy said as they left the remains of the would-be predators behind. Zeke swept his weapon through the air, grinning proudly at the recreation. Looking back, she noticed Nightingale dragging, her usual excitement nowhere to be seen. Remy dropped back to walk with her. Hey, we won! Remy grabbed Nightingale's shoulder playfully. Gage jumped from Remy's shoulder and bumped his head against Nightingale's leg. I feel like I can see this place, Nightingale said in a low voice. Like, I can really see it. I keep getting these weird flashes of things, and I think the Maluma is... Nope, Remy interrupted. Screw what the monster wants. You don't need to listen to it. I'll help lead you on. Whatever you see isn't going to stop us. Nightingale nodded, though she didn't look any better. The Maluma's constant pressure was beginning to wear her down. Remy could see that they had to hurry and find this severe person, if only for Nightingale's sake. Page 238, Strange Encounter. The Grand Library was one of the most elaborate buildings they had seen in the ruins. Faded, tattered banners still hung from the walls, occasionally catching the breeze. The stone looked finer than in the rest of the city, and seemed more resistant to the creeping vines and mosses that blanketed everything else. Rook stopped short when he saw a humanoid figure emerging from a nearby alley and headed straight for them. Rook put one hand up and drew his weapon with the other. At a glance, the figure did not seem dangerous. It was a girl even shorter than Justice. As she came closer, it became clear that she wasn't human. She had too many arms. She wasn't wearing clothes, exactly, so much as she was covered by a random selection of cloth strips. Most striking, though, was the bright row of wide and glaring eyes with a faint green glow across her forehead. Greetings, travelers, she said. Her voice sounded strange, as if it resonated from a chamber somewhere deep within her body. However odd she may have looked, she didn't seem hostile. Hi, Zeke said tentatively. My name is Lakshmi. I have been looking for you. Zeke narrowed his eyes and retreated a few steps from the speaker. You don't even know who we are. This one misunderstands, Lakshmi said. Her arms were constantly in motion, darting in and out of a large bag she carried. I'm always searching for somebody. Today, it was you. I believe our meeting could be mutually beneficial. Rook watched her closely. The way she moved was uncanny and unnatural. It wasn't fluid and organic, but it wasn't entirely mechanical either. It was almost hypnotic. You're a gatekeeper, aren't you? Rook asked. Lakshmi tilted her head for a moment, then jerked it down in what Rook assumed was a nod. Wait, you know these people? Zeke paused, trying to decide on the word to use. Wait, you know these? Zeke paused, trying to decide on the word to use. People? I've heard of them. I've read about them. Of course you have, Zeke rolled his eyes. She's not going to try and murder us, is she? No, Lakshmi said as she fished into her strange bag. The bag blinked a few times, and Zeke stared in awe at the sudden realization that it was alive. Its mouth opening wide as Lakshmi groped around it. There's the picture of the bag. What's in the bag? Zeke asked. It sounded like metal being swirled around as the girl's hand searched inside of the monster bag's mouth. Keys, mostly. Lakshmi had a set of eyes watching Zeke while another set peered into the bag. But there are many things inside, perhaps even something that can help you. Rook hummed in realization. You're kind, gatekeepers. Feel they were created for a specific purpose, right? The architect made each of us so that we could fulfill our destinies. Lakshmi made another strange head movement. My purpose for now has brought me to you. Be wary of my sisters, however. We each have our own destiny, and some are less peaceful. So, what's the destiny you have to fulfill? Zeke folded his arms, looking unimpressed. Rook elbowed him, lowering his voice. These creatures can be dangerous. I'm no danger to you, Lakshmi said, looking at Zeke. Her many arms gesture to the myriad weapons on her back. Have gathered much that is of value. My destiny has led me to you to exchange these goods. Lakshmi made a whirring sound and smiled as she plucked a single key from her bag and held it gently between her fingers. Lakshmi pushed the key into the open air and turned it. Something clicked, and as she did, a sturdy shelf packed with useful supplies folded down from nowhere in particular. Perhaps you'll like to trade. Story round. Lakshmi the Traveling Merchant, page 239. So, this is actually where the initial confusion started. If you recall, to this point, every story round we ran into was always preceded by a refresh. This one does not, which makes things very, very weird, to say the least. I don't know if it's still intentional. I didn't really notice a response to it, but I'm going to play as if I haven't refreshed yet. So technically, I still have all my dodge tokens. So that also means I don't heal or unflip things. So 239. So there's Lakshmi. Multiple eyes you can see. Multiple arms. And she's kind of weird, kind of like a doll person. Anyway, shop and train. All uncommon items are available. All upgrades players have unlocked. One random uncommon unique item. There's only one left, which is the Swalloven Pugment, which is not a bad weapon. It's just not one I need. So that's it for so at this point, unique items don't get us anything. All non-unique accessories and all non-unique items from previous tiers. So yeah, everything from before. There's also 3 random mundane and common unique relics accessories. So it specifically says unique relics and accessories, which is a little strange. Because they're not really... Yeah, I think because I wasn't really... I kind of stopped keeping track of which items we had gone through in the shops, because technically anything that's in a previous shop doesn't carry over. I think there was maybe a wand or something, maybe, that could be revealed, but it's honestly not anything I care about, so I'm just going to leave it nothing. So this is just a situation where if you just happen to be doing really, really poorly, and there's a ton of items still left in the unique piles, this will be an opportunity to get some of the previous ones that you happen to miss. Anyway, so with this is our opportunity to go ahead and restock and figure out exactly what we want to equip. So there's a lot of things we could play around with right now. Obviously, we have this new Ichor Drenched Chain. We also have the Hooked Vine, which I've messed around with. Well, we haven't messed around with yet. I'm thinking of getting... I think I want to drop Hemlock and Sare at this point and go ahead and get Hooked Vine. And actually do something like this, maybe. I haven't really needed to go blasting at a very, very far range lately. But, I mean, I could always do a re-equip action if I need to do something like that. So, Ichor Drenched Chain. So I could do that and swap out the... swap the longsword. It would actually reduce his die type, though. But it would give me the ability to inflict disease from a distance. Because of Sinful Privilege. It'd also give him bonuses to jump checks, which he doesn't really have very good agility to begin with. He has 3. It's not the worst. But I guess the main thing is he could also do potential pulls, which is really, really interesting, because it's going to be based off wherever you're at when you use Sinful Privilege. So that could definitely do some interesting things. So I kind of want to give Damocles the Ichor Drenched Chain. Let's see how that plays out. It also makes it so he automatically has Reach 2 from then on. I'm not that concerned about combo lights with this thing. Alright, the Ichor Drenched Chain will be able to get its combo, but not the Iridium Dagger. And be able to inflict disease could be definitely have some strong potential there. So that leaves us with this sword here. The sword, dual-wielding Dweller Longswords is a really powerful combination if you can get it to work. But before we do any of that, we do have some experience points to spend. I don't think there's anything super. Both Justice and Rook have access to 4th tier stuff if they want it. I think I do want to go for 4th tier for Justice at the very least. Deal your target match damage equal to the damage of the previous ability. But it forces your turn to end, which sucks. Deal damage equal to... Yeah, it requires a cast of spell 6 as well. He watches is pretty decent because he can get battle tokens that way. But I think I want to get Ineptitude. So I'll go ahead and grab Ineptitude for Justice. So this allows her to exhaust or reduce any roll on that an opponent with an SOI does by 3. So that could be an attack roll, it could be a conviction roll, etc. So that'll be it for Justice there. And then Rook has a few options. He could go... I don't really have any interest in anything besides... besides maybe Inspiration, which I always forget that it triggers. But it makes it so he gets a stamina every time he ends a turn with 0 stamina, which can be really good for him. I think I want to do that. The other option is, I think... Yeah, we can get Intervention. Which can be really helpful as well. The other option is I could go for another courage item, or another the ability that gives courage. Yeah, so it looks like he's done healing and debuffs. Yeah, I could do I could also go straight into this and get paralysis, which is a tempting offer. But I think I kind of wanted to get something that's support-wise useful. I don't think, yeah, can't do haste anymore, so that's not an option. We could go this way and get courage, or sorry, not. Is it any? Can I get courage? Or does Zeke have it? Zeke might have it actually. Yeah, he does. Okay, so yeah, I think the only option would be to go. I could increase his mobility, but I think I want to go Intervention and have another character that can throw out intervention tokens. So the cost of this ability is going to be expensive though, because I have 1, 2, 3 level 1, so this actually cost him 6, which I'm completely okay with. Okay, so that puts him at that. Remy, I can get another tier 1 if I really need one at this point. The question is there anything worth... If your Loyal Esper is defeated, when your Loyal Esper is dealt damage by an opponent, you may deal your source of the damage irreducible damage. I might do Last Laugh. It's an exhaust ability though. At any time an ally with an SOI might dodge. It's either that or I keep going down support stuff. Well, we'll look more into that in a bit. Everything else I can't really spend experience on. Okay, so key things here is we need to get some of these characters some better gear. So main thing, Brooding Mantle. Put that on Rook. That'll increase his HP by 2 and give him a chance of potentially doing wilt on whenever he gets hit, or whenever he's damaged, rather. That leaves a barbed breastplate. Damocles. So morbid leather. If an attack you make exceeds an opponent's defense by 2 or more, you deal additional physical damage. It's a really good item. I'm just kind of seeing what my other options are. I also could go for full plate, but the problem with full plate is it's heavy. When you're dealt damage, reduce physical damage dealt to you by 4. I kind of prefer the Brooding Mantle, to be honest. Alright, give me a moment. Okay, took some time to kind of get a plan of attack going. So first things first, I want to go as crazy with justice as possible. So the plan here is I have two-handed weapons can have 2 upgrade slots, and then my Marbish threads can also have an upgrade slot. And universals can go on anything. So with this, if I buy 3 Ethereums, which will cost 150 gold, because it's 50 gold per each for an uncommon item. Both of these are uncommon. So 150 gold will give her +3 mobility, bringing her up to 15 movement. So that's 150 gold right there. So that puts us at 715. The next one I was a little torn about. I definitely want to give Otherworldly to one of Damocles' weapons. Technically, you could put it on a Blighted Guardian thing, and it would be based off uncommon tier right now. I can also put it on the Iridium Dagger, but it's a rare weapon, so it actually costs more. But with that, actually, I'm a little concerned about... I'm actually concerned about symbols a little bit. With a red die, it would be a red die and a green die, so it would be this. So without courage, he can't actually do extra damage. The trade-off is he could potentially afflict disease and possibly do a pull. But the pull is going to be based off difference hit, and my rolls tend to be pretty bipolar, to be honest. Like, best case scenario, I'll hit by 4, which will be force 12. So you know what? I think I'm going to go without the Ichor. I'll give back the sword. And then I can use the Ichor, trade that in to go ahead and get an upgrade for free and put that on the rare weapon. I think that's going to be the trade-off. As much as I wanted to goof around with this weapon, it's just not an option. Alright, so that takes care of that. So I spent 150 gold so far. Let's just make sure I did the movement right. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yep, she has 15 movement. That's as high as she can go. The only way she can go higher is if she gets familiar, which would cost her 6 experience, and that will get her up to 16 movement and give her some other benefits. Okay, so I did pull out the oversized club because I don't plan on using it. Obviously, we're not going to keep the quiver. We could try to build another. We don't have anyone to build another archer as, so it's just not an option. And at this point, we need to go ahead and get people better armor and better cores. So we got a core here that's low tier, and then we have the cat suit here. So my opinion on the changes for the utility cores is it's improved. I still prefer the old version because actions are more exciting than passives. But the uncommon and rare tier of utility cores actually gives you 2 items of your choice after every encounter. So it's actually extremely powerful now, especially with certain items. One thing I never got confirmation, well, I didn't get confirmation of back when I originally recorded these, was whether or not like dynamite and stuff could actually be regrabbed. And supposedly the call is yes, you can. The reason why I say it's, the reason why there's confusion is the wording. instead of just saying, hey, this goes into the, consumable deck, it says it goes to the consumable, uncommon consumable for purchase. And that for purchase is what threw me off. Because honestly, being able to throw dynamite and then immediately re-grab it at the end of an encounter is super powerful. So with that in mind, I want to go ahead and get a Penumbra Architect. Also, it's a really good ability. This actually has a really good ability attached to it, where when an ally gets defeated, that includes Espers, you can give an ally with an SOI haste, barrier, or courage, which is always good. So this thing costs 110, so this will put us at 605. And that'll go to Zeke. Alright, and then we need to get some better armor. I'm interested in Morbid Leather. I'm going to go ahead and spend... So, at this point, the only other armor that's of interest is the Marbish Threads, which we already have one of. The neat thing about Marbish Threads is you can use it to avoid break attacks, but Nightingale can already do that with Light the Shadow, so it's not really something she needs. So yeah, I think Morbid Leather, because then that makes it so she does extra damage if she rolls high. So I think I'm going to spend 100 gold to get this up and running. So that'll put us at 505. Let's swap those out. Alright, and this will make it so her mobility will go down a little bit, which is okay. Her armor will go up. And then she will get, she'll get another 6 HP. Which, honestly, she needed. Yeah, that's 24, 26, and then -1, so 25. Yep, 25 HP. I still want to keep the aligning machine, though having low defense is going to start hurting me at this point. But that's okay. We still need to get armor for Zeke. Obviously, Marbish Threads is kind of his only option, unless I want to go for something heavier. Oh, actually, we need to get armor for Damocles as well. I'm thinking Brooding Mantle for him, to be honest. Yeah, I think Marbish Threads will be a good one for Zeke at the very least. Alright, so Zeke, you want to get Marbish Threads. And that will cost us another 100 gold. So I'll put us at 405. Alright, and then that leaves us with Brooding Mantle and the Penumbra Architect. So we do have a Radiant Septum Ring, which is really good. It's definitely nothing to sneeze at, to be honest. But I plan on keeping Damocles as far away from combat as possible, because he's going to just be doing Sinful Privilege all the time. So I think I might go ahead and get him a Penumbra Architect as well. So that's another 110. Which puts us at 295. And then Brooding Mantle is another 105. So that puts us at 190. So that puts us in a reasonably good shape. Next is we need to get a new weapon for Zeke. The oversized glove is nice, but at this point it's a common tier, and we need to get him something better. So he has a few options. One thing I kind of want to do is get more throwing items for him, because that's kind of his shtick. What's his axes do? That's a halberd. Where are the axes? There they are. When you deal physical damage to an opponent, heal 1. Only one healer Hatchet of Honor can be used per action or ability. I think I like that. So we'll grab ourselves a Healer's Hatchet of Honor. It's also a red die for throwing, so that's 90 gold. That leaves us with 100. So the key thing here is we want his pack. Got the Penumbra Architect. He's got a few fancy things here with the fight drives. We have follow through. We want to give a fight. We don't want to give fight drives to Damocles. So with the fight drives here, it's per encounter, and what you can use it for is it'll save him 2 stamina. So you can use that 2 stamina, those 2 stamina to do another 4 damage. And then we got Blood Pack, Imbued Fear, Blade Distortion, can't dodge it. Yeah, I think that's a good call. All right. Don't need to worry about backstab because it doesn't matter for Sinful Privilege. So get those. What are we looking at as far as party stash? We got a few things laying around, nothing too fancy to be honest. I'm gonna go ahead and pull out some of our old stuff that we can sell. Problem Solver's not bad, but we'll hold on to the quiver just in case. The problem is I just don't have the experience points right now to actually try to make someone into an archer. I mean, they will not be anywhere near the equivalent of a nightingale, but if they got something like, you know, kill the messenger and then maybe like a follow through, maybe they can be like a single shot type sniper. Speaking of, Nightingale wants to get... Is it follow through? No. Follow through's not going to be good enough for her. Anyway, not going to worry about that. So that was 90 gold. Did I already give you the hatchet or not? I did not. So we'll go ahead and give you this hatchet because I've already paid for it. And I'm actually going to go ahead and buy a second hatchet. So it'll be another 90 gold, bring us down to 10 gold left. So his pack can have up to 9 items in it. Keyword being the pack. And then he will have 3, his consumable slots have to be consumables. So right now he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if he gets, if we can get 2 more thrown weapons for him, we can do something with that. Other than that, I actually want to clear out these extra throw items. Actually, I could keep them. It's not the end of the world. Kind of want to get rid of the plank, to be honest, but I think that's fine. I just have to remember to actually use the items. So that leaves you... We still need to get him some relics. So let me see what I can do for selling. Be right back. Okay, moved around some items. I'm actually going to go ahead and not take the Brooding Mantle. So I'll get back my 105 gold. So that brings us to 115 again. The reason why is my intention with Damocles is to keep them away from combat, and he does have Blood Pact, which is where he deals damage to himself to add damage to his attack. So he really wants HP. So even though this is still common armor, it gives more HP than the Brooding Mantle. I think that's a better trade-off. I mean, it's only 2 extra HP, but every HP is going to count. Because right now... do we have blood rings? We do not. Okay, that's something I need. We need a blood ring. So, Ring of Blood, it's 40 gold. And I'll take care of his equipment slots. So that's going to put us down to 75 gold. So key thing here with blood rings is you can use it to... You can only use it 1 per action or ability. And he's purely going to be one-shot guy. So with this, that'll get him a Ring of Blood. And anytime he takes... Oh, he doesn't actually need the fight drives because he has Blade Works. He does not need the fight drives. So Zeke, congratulations, you get fight drives. So that kind of leaves him with not much to play around with, to be honest. Alright, so instead of those, instead of fight drives, I can give him Enchanted Piercings. This will give him some rerolls. So that should be pretty helpful. Yeah. So I'll give him that. Other than that, kind of seeing what else he has. He has 1, 2, 3. So he needs 6 experience to get another. He definitely needs to get the thing that gets him more vow tokens, but he can't do that right now. Since he's going to be carrying the architect, I'm having him carry the rice balls for now. Okay, so that puts us at that. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and sell some stuff, because we don't need most of this anymore. The oversized club is worth 20. So we'll just put it in the pile there. So that puts us back to 95 gold. That's enough to get myself another thrown weapon. Now, obviously, there's some weaknesses for thrown weapons. They're not very good against anything that has armor. So we can get a glass dagger. Now cost 90. Okay, and search this. So he'll have 2 weapons equipped, probably the hatchets, and then that leaves him with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7, 8, 9. Okay, so he technically has 1 slot to spare amongst his consumables and thrown weapons, which means I can probably get myself another knife if I can find the money for it. But it looks like that's going to be it for the cash front. But I'm going to go ahead and sell what we have for now. This can go in the stash for any future people we happen to get. I'm just seeing what sort of things I got here. Reroll, rerolls, rerolls, those are fine. Hangover elixirs, okay, those are fine. Okay, so yeah, we'll go ahead and sell these. We'll sell the cores and the common tier armors. Each of these are worth 10, so that's going to get us another 40 gold. I'll put us at 45. All right, and that's probably it. We have a core, we have armor, you have stuff. You don't have an accessory. You do not have an accessory. What accessory are you using? That's right, backpack. So yeah, you can have this accessory. Okay. I think that puts us in a slightly better position. I gave a bunch of the throwing weapons to Zeke there. I'm kind of okay with everything else, to be honest. I could try to get another black arrow, but to be honest, I don't desperately need it. I kind of want one, but I don't need it. Need it is the key thing, I suppose. It'd be kind of hard for me to find the money for it, to be honest. You're a story weapon. Fortune cookie. Yeah, I'm not gonna. There's no way I can get to. Well, maybe. Depends on how much I'm willing to give up. Actually, we can sell the quiver. So this is going to be based off our current tier. So give me 1 moment. Okay. All right, so it's based off our current tier as far as how much this thing is worth. We're at uncommon tier, so it's going to be worth 20 gold. So throw it back in the pile. There we go. So 20 gold puts us at 65. Each of these relics are worth 5. This is worth 20. Yeah, we'll get rid of the Tonfa. It's neat, but I don't have anyone that's going to be built for it. So another 20 gold there. Puts us at 85. And then I can just sell a relic, and that'll give me 90. I kind of want to keep the uncommon book here. It's actually really good for casters. It's just I kind of like the Edge console. I've only recently started messing around with tomes, and they're pretty amazing, to be honest. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get rid of a Fate engine. That's worth 5 gold, and that brings us to 90, and then we'll spend it all to get ourselves black arrows. So if I ever run into anyone that's heavily armored, I can reduce their armor by 4 by equipping both arrows. This also allows me to bypass resistances, which is actually really key as well. So that's definitely something we can play around with. Other than that, I think that's everything. Like I said, there was a lot of gold we needed to spend. And I think we're kind of in a decent place. Let me check about items real quick. I could be cheeky with some of these items that give stamina, but I think I'm okay with just waiting on other stuff. That leaves us with 6 there. Yeah, that's workable. And you have a dodge. You can reroll the dodge because you're Zeke. It's not too bad. I'm not super big fan of the fight drives, to be honest, but it's kind of really all I have at the moment. Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and call that there, so that'll take care of our shop phase. By the way, there are no explorers or anything like that. It's just we go to the next thing. And yeah, I think we're pretty good shape. At this point, I think I can switch my active group, but I don't exactly care to. So yeah, we'll just keep pressing onwards. We'll keep doing the story stuff. All right, so Library of Gehenna, page 240. Give me 1 second. All right, I forgot to put the dynamite in Zeke's pack, so he actually has a full pack now. All right, onwards to Library of Gehenna. 1, 2, 3. The massive stone doors ground open as Rook and Zeke both shove against them. Nightingale watched, still feeling drained. The Maluma's presence was inching closer to the surface, bubbling so close to her thoughts that she could constantly feel its anger. I'm close to finding a way to get rid of you, she thought spitefully. Oh, sorry, wrong voice. You're getting desperate. The library was a vast cavernous space, its walls covered with shelves even as they rose far out of reach. The furniture had rotted long ago. Although the books seemed perfectly preserved, the stained glass windows high above were too covered with grime to let the light of the early evening in, but sconces holding glowstones provided a little illumination. Not far from the library's entrance, they found another camp. It was far smaller than the one outside, just a clear spot of ground with a fire pit and several sleeping bags. Justice looked excitedly as she glanced around. They had to have come through here. This must have been where they rested before going deeper into the library. Let's set up camp here, then, Rook said as he surveyed the area. We can have something to eat and start exploring in the morning. I know we're all anxious to check things out, but we've been pushing ourselves too hard. As the others made camp, Nightingale sat as far as she dared, perched on the ruins of a shelf. Even the smell of Remy's cooking and the warmth of the fire couldn't draw her back. Can I find the secret of my freedom here? She sat for a moment, waiting to see if the Maluma would respond. Her skin crawled and she shivered. Out of the darkness, a quiet, distant voice spoke. Hey! It was barely audible. Nightingale shut her eyes and put her head to her hands. Shut up, I won't listen to you. But the voice came again. Hey! Nightingale sat back and realized it wasn't the Maluma speaking. You're not in my head. You're not in my head? She whispered into the dark. I don't think you should be here, the speaker said a little louder. Nightingale could finally hear where it was coming from. A figure crouched low, looking out at her through the gloom between two shelves. Nightingale hopped down off the shelf and reached for a weapon. Who are you? She demanded. You should leave. The figure jerked backward, knocking a pile of ruined books to the floor as she scrambled away. Nightingale chased her only a few steps before the figure slipped through a low window and out of the library. Are you okay? Rook asked from behind. Nightingale swung around to see him staring past her at the toppled pile of books. Yeah, there was just someone here. Or someone there, she explained. Suri was suddenly beside her, lighting the area around them with a gentle purple glow. A large tribe of forest nymphs used to live in the surrounding swamps. It is possible they moved into the city once it became deserted. Huh? Nightingale shrugged. It said that we should leave, that we shouldn't be here. Nightingale felt one of Rook's hands on her back, and he opened his mouth to speak, but was interrupted by Zeke shouting. Hey guys, Zeke called, sounding excited. There's a pack up here. Everyone was gathered around one of the walls. Even Remy had gone over to look, leaving the pot of stew to simmer. Nightingale sat beside the fire, taking up stirring duties. She wasn't particularly interested in Zeke's antics. Zeke pointed at a pack hanging from a hook high up on the wall. Check it out. Looks like it's stuffed with loot. I suppose, Justice said doubtfully, but it's so high up. You want me to fly up? Remy asked. Nah, Zeke backed up, giving himself some room. I used to have bad dunking skills back in the day. I'm sure I still got it. He jogged into a running leap. Nightingale stopped stirring as she watched. It was actually impressive. Zeke snagged the strap of the bag and came falling back down. Something clicked as he did, and a series of mechanical noises echoed through the ground nearby. Trap, Rook yelled, but it was too late. The ground swung open, and instead of finding ground, Zeke continued to fall. Nightingale dropped her spoon, jumped up, and charged for the opening. Everyone else was standing on the trap as well, and they had all gone tumbling down into the dark, screaming as they fell. By the time she made it to the edge, they'd vanished into the darkness. The distant screams and curses of her friends eventually died out, and Nightingale stood on the edge, panicking. Oh no. She stepped back, unsure what to do. I'm alone. You always have me, the Maluma replied, its inhuman laugh echoing around her. Flagjack, do we have experience guide? No. Because, yeah, we don't have experience guide. So we go to no, is everyone all right? Page 242. Boop, boop, boop. We'll do this. Boop, boop. All right. Is everyone all right? Zeke! Nightingale's voice echoed from somewhere above. Zeke tried to shout back, but something struck him hard in the gut as he fell, driving the air from his lungs. Stale air blasted past him as he sped down the slope. The muffled grunts of pain and curses of his friends told him that at least some of them were falling too. At least it wasn't a sheer drop. There was a slight angle, and he was sliding down as if riding an out-of-control bobsled. He soon lost track of the scrapes and bruises, struggling in vain to latch onto the slick surface and hold himself in place. After what felt like an eternity, he struck shallow water. He bounced along the surface for a moment, splashing violently in all directions as he came to a stop. Zeke floated there for a few moments, the pain sapping his motivation to get moving. Something clutched him by the shoulder, yanking him abruptly to his feet. It was Rook, looking concerned. Zeke, are you all right? Zeke nodded. I think so. He flexed each of his limbs in turn. Everything seems to be working. He fished a glowstone out of his pocket. The others were all getting to their feet, each looking bruised, battered, and wet, but otherwise unharmed. All except Remy. Her face was contorted with pain, and one of her wings was bent backwards. Ah, Remy. Shit, Zeke said. Yeah, she croaked, eyes watering. That's about how I feel. Rook stood beside Zeke, looking her over. Can you walk? I don't think so, she whimpered, tears of pain welling in her eyes. She grabbed at her ankle. Pretty sure it sprang. She sucked in her breath. My wing, too. I didn't know wings could hurt so much. We can't stay here, Damocles said, his weapon already raised. I hear movement in the dark. Something's coming. Wait, has anyone seen Night? Rook asked suddenly. Zeke spun around in search of any sign of her. Damn, I heard her yelling as I fell. She must still be up there. We have to go, Rook said. He dropped to his knees, putting one hand on Remy's shoulder and forcing her to meet his eyes. I'm going to lift you, all right? Once we're somewhere safe, we'll see what we can do for that wing and that leg. She nodded, her face pale. I'm ready, she said, gritting her teeth. Okay, let's do this. Rook lifted her to an upright position and helped her get moving. Gage perched on Rook's other shoulder, trying to stay out of the water. With Remy out of action and Rook too encumbered to fight, more of the responsibility for defending them fell to Zeke. He could see only one way out, a single dark doorway that was short enough that he had to duck to get through. Beyond it was a hallway made of the same stone as the structure above, although it lacked the blanket of vegetation. Tread carefully. Suri's voice came from just behind Rook, though she had appeared only as a faint outline. That trap should not have been there. I believe someone installed it since the city was abandoned. If there is one, there will probably be more. I hope Zephyr and the other anointed weren't trapped too. Justice groaned, grabbing at her side from the front of the group and glaring off into the darkness. Come on, let's see if we can find the stairs. Special. Remy was hurt during the fall. Marker is injured. So there's two versions. There's injured and unselectable. Injured is you can't use them in encounters, but you can still technically trade with them. Unselectable is where you can't even trade with them because they're not there. Special, Nightingale has been separated from the party. Marker is unselectable on the adventure sheet, so we don't have Nightingale. So that means we're down to Zeke, Rook, Justice, and Damocles. Before continuing, players choose the active group. Well, my options are already made for me. So this will definitely... the active group means I can actually do some trading if I need to. So give me a moment and I will get this organized. Okay, got everything set up. I set everyone else to the side. Now Remy is injured, so I could trade with her. So I did take some items from her and moved them to other characters. I went ahead and also distributed some of Zeke's items to other people just to free up some space for him. Besides that, I don't think there's anything else to point out. Oh, actually his skills are wrong. That should be good there. He has +1 movement, that's fine. These are not correct. These actually have Zeke's old stuff. I believe I did that one already. So Damocles is floating around 20 HP. Brought down some copies of these so I don't have to drag them out as much, since now we're going to get vow tokens and all that. I think that's everything. 6 movement. You have 20 HP. Yep. You're not heavy either. Yep. Okay. Now, it does have a tip here. Occasionally, adventurers might become injured. While injured, adventurers cannot be selected as member of active group. However, unlike being unselectable, injured party members may trade items whenever a new active group is chosen. So that's what I did there. Then we go to page 243, which is Chasm Games. Cave Cycle patrols. Cave Cycles patrol the corridor ahead. Behind them, the hall splits off in 2 directions. What worries you more than the Cave Cycles, however, are the strange holes that line the walls of the room. You're not sure, but they look like some sort of trap. You'd best tread carefully. Special encounter rules. If Rook is in the active group, which implies that there's a way to not have him in the active group, Rook must carry Remy while assisting the party. Due to the extra load, Rook gains 1 less SP when recovering SP for the duration of this encounter. Then there's some stuff for Deadly Drop, which we don't read yet. Small Opening, same thing, we don't read yet. The red objective represents a strange hieroglyphic symbol. Adjacent adventurer can interact with it. Blue objective represents a metal lever, and adjacent adventurer can mess with it. And that is it. So we'll go ahead and put this on board. So, as mentioned, there's been no refresh. So I'm going to play as if we haven't had a refresh yet, which means I still have my dodge tokens and I still have Elifie in play. It also means Elifie hasn't fully healed yet. I'm just checking a few things before I continue. Just making sure convictions are correct. It looks like they are. Oh, actually, since we were doing... The active group did change, and since this is already flipped, I'm actually going to go ahead and bring in the Book of Theodosian. Alright, let's go ahead and load page. Here we are. These are not the correct cave sickles. Yeah, these cave sickles are wrong. We should be fighting mega cave sickles. We should be fighting ancients. There's nothing higher than ancient, I don't think. Yeah, we should be fighting ancient cave sickles. They are the strongest version. Okay. Got that. Okay. So we start in the center there. The water does not have any current. Other than that, there's nothing else to point out. So we can go ahead and grab ourselves the initiative cards. And yeah. So yeah, this is that tip where it says, hey, even if you're not going to be using the character, you better make sure they're equipped. This is why. This is where it does the RPG trope, where it shuffles your party. So we got ourselves a Damocles now. Got ourselves a 15 movement Justice. We'll put her there for now. Then of course we got ourselves big man Zeke here, and get Rook there. But yeah, it's going to be a unique situation to say the least. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here, and I'm probably going to be a lot of these, since these encounters tend to be very, very, very long. As always, I'll try to break them up if I need to, but also I'm going to be trying to probably keep the story stuff separate from the encounter stuff now, because just the sheer amount of time it takes to do each of them, it's a bit much. So so there may be some situations where there's a short video, but it's just the story bits. So just keeping that, just FYI, at least that's the plan. It may change by the time I record next week. So I am the Depressed Eeyore. This was Middara. As always, thank you guys for your support. This is on Tabletop Simulator, and as always, if there's any rules mistakes, feel free to voice them. I do read the comments, but I may not respond to all of them because some of them are kind of irrelevant after months of videos. But I appreciate it nonetheless, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time.